Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Welcome to Srila Prabhupada Book Reading Club and Happy
Thank you.
Ekadashi to everyone. And today we will start our session by offering the prayers followed by Ekadashi Katha and our remaining purport. Okay, so yes, so let's start our session by offering the prayers. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहित कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान सगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मुखम करोति वाचालम पंगु लंगायते गिरि यत्कृपातहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we can start our session by taking darshans of my Garmita. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Bol.
A little light issue. And like you can read this quote: everything worthwhile in life comes after intense effort. So even if you want a bhakti, you have to put lot of efforts. It's not easy game. Okay. So Hare Krishna wants to read today's Ekadashi Katha. Hare Bol. Yes, Sharmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Putrada Ekadashi. Pausha Shukla Ekadashi. The pious and saintly Yudhishthira Maharaja said, O Lord, you have so nicely explained to us the wonderful glories of the Safala Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksha of the month of Pausha, December January. Now please be merciful to me and explain to me the details of the Ekadashi that occurs in the light fortnight, Shukla or Gaura Paksha of this month. What is its name and what deity is to be worshipped on that sacred day? O Purushottama, O Rishikesha, please also tell me how you can be pleased on this day. Lord Sri Krishna then replied, O saintly king, for the benefit of all humanity, I shall now tell you how to observe fasting on the Pausha Shukla Ekadashi. As previously explained, everyone should observe the rules and regulations of the Ekadashi Vrata to the very best of their ability. This injunction also applies to the Ekadashi named Putrada, which destroys all sins and elevates one to the spiritual abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Narayana, the original personality, is the worshipable deity of the Ekadashi, and for his faithful devotees, he happily fulfills all desires and awards full perfection. Thus, among all the animate and inanimate beings in the three worlds, lower, middle, and higher planetary systems, there is no better personality than Lord Narayana. O King, now I shall narrate to you the history of Putrada Ekadashi, which removes all kinds of sins and makes one famous and learned. There was once a kingdom named Bhadravati, which was ruled by the king Suketuman. His queen was the famous Shaibya. Because he had no son, he spent a long time in anxiety, thinking, if I have no son, who will carry on my dynasty? In this way, the king meditated in a religious attitude for a very long time, thinking, where should I go? What should I do? How can I get a pious son, Putra? In this way, King Suketuman could find no happiness anywhere in his kingdom, even in his own palace. And soon he was spending more and more time inside his wife's palace, gloomily thinking only of how he could get a son. Thus, both King Suketuman and Queen Shaibya were in great distress. Even when they offered tarpana, oblations of water to their forefathers, their mutual misery made them think that it was as undrinkable as boiling water. Thus they thought that they would have no descendants to offer tarpana to them when they died and thus become lost souls, ghosts. The king and the queen were especially upset to learn that their forefathers were worried that soon there would be no one to offer them tarpana also. After
Hare Krishna
learning
Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Let's
Hare
give a
Krishna.
chance to
Sure,
Vinod
sure.
Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Vinod Prabhu. After learning of their forefathers' unhappiness.
Hare Krishna Mataji. After learning of their forefathers' unhappiness, the king and queen became more and more miserable, and neither ministers nor friends nor even loved ones could cheer them up. To the king, his elephants and horses and infantry were no solace, and at last he became practically inert and helpless. The king thought to himself, it is said that without a son, marriage is wasted. Indeed, for a family man with no son, both his heart and his splendid house remain vacant and miserable. Bereft of a son, a man cannot liquidate the debts that he owes his forefathers, the demigods, devas, and to other human beings. Therefore, every married man should endeavor to beget a son, thus he will become famous within this world and at last attain the auspicious celestial realms. A son is long duration of life in this world, along with good health and great wealth. Possessing sons and grandsons in this lifetime proves that one has worshipped Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the past. The great blessings of sons, wealth, and sharp intelligence can be achieved only by worshipping the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. That is my opinion. Thinking thus, the king had no peace. He remained in anxiety day and night, and from morning to evening, and from time he lays down to sleep at night until the sun rose in the morning. His dreams were equally full of great anxiety. Suffering such constant anxiety and apprehension, King Suketman decided to end his misery by committing suicide, but he realized that suicide throws a person into hellish conditions of rebirth, and so he abandoned that idea. Seeing that he was gradually destroying himself by his all consuming anxiety over the lack of a son, the king at last mounted his horse and left for the dense forest alone. No one, not even the priests and Brahmins of the palace, knew where he had gone. In that forest, which was filled with deer and birds and other animals, King Suketman wandered aimlessly. Nothing all the different kind of trees and shrubs, such as the fig, bell, fruit, date, palm, jackfruit, bakula, sant, aparna, tindulka, and tilka, as well as the shala, thala, tamala, sarla, ingotya, decorated with fruits and flowers. He saw deer, tigers, wild bear, lions, monkeys, snakes, huge bull elephants, in Orud, cow elephants with their calves, and four tusked elephants with their mates. Close by there were cows, jackals, rabbits, leopards, and hippopotamus. Beholding all these animals accompanied by their mates and offsprings, the king remembered his own mangrine, especially his palace elephants, and became so sad that they absent mindedly wandered into their very midst, Suddenly the king heard a jackal howl in the distance. Started, he began wandering about, looking around in all directions. Soon it was midday, and the king started to tire. He was tormented by hunger and thirst also. He thought, what sinful deed could possibly have done so that I am now forced to suffer like this? With my throat parched and burning and my stomach empty and rumbling, I have pleased the devas, demigods, with numerous fire sacrifices and abundant devotional worship. I have given many gifts and delicious sweets in charity to all the worthy Brahmins too, and I have taken care of my subjects as though they were my very own children. Why then am I suffering so? What unknown sins have come to bear fruit and torment me in this dreadful way? Absorbed in these thoughts, King Sketman struggled forward, and eventually, due to his pious credits, he came upon a beautiful lotus-bearing pond that resembled the famous lake Mansarora. It was filled with aquatics, including crocodiles and many varieties of fish, and graced with varieties of lilies and lotuses. The beautiful lotuses had opened to the sun, and swan, cranes, and ducks swam happily in its waters. Nearby were many attractive ashrams, where there resided many saints and sages who could fulfill the desires of anyone. Indeed, they wished everyone well. When the king saw all this, his right arm and right eye began to quiver, a sakuna sign for a male that something auspicious was about to happen. As the king dismounted his horse and stood before the sages who sat on the shore of the pond, he saw that they were chanting the holy names of God on japa beads. The king paid his obeisance and, joining his palms, addressed them with glorified praise. Observing the respect the king offered them, the sage said, "We are very pleased with you, O king. Kindly tell us why you have come here. What is on your mind? Please inform us what is your heart's desire." The king replied, "O great sages, who are you? What are your names? Surely your presence reveals that you are auspicious saints. Why have you come to this beautiful place? Please tell me everything." The sages replied, "O king, we are known as the 10 Vishwadevas, the sons of Vishwavasu, Satya, Kritu, Daksha, Kala, Kama, Dharti, Purnava, Madrava, and Kuru. We have come here to this very lovely pond to bathe. The month of Magha, Madhva Mase, will soon be there in 5 days from the Magh Nakshatra, and today is the famous Putrada Ekadashi. One who desires a son should strictly observe this particular Ekadashi. The king said, "I have tried so hard to have son. If you great sages are pleased with me, kindly grant the boon of having a good son, Putra." The very meaning of Putrada, the sages replied, is giver of a Putra, pious son. So please observe a complete fast on this Ekadashi day. If you do so, then by our blessings and by the mercy of the Lord Keshava invested in us, surely you will obtain a son. On the advice of the Vishwadevas, the king observed the auspicious fast day of Putrada Ekadashi according to the established rules and regulations. And on the Devdasi, and breaking his fast, he paid obeisance again and again to all of them. Soon after, Suketpan returned to his palace and united with his queen. Queen Shabia immediately became pregnant, and exactly as the Vishwadas had predicted, a bright-faced, beautiful son was born to them. In due course of time, he became famous as a heroic prince, and the king gladly pleased his noble son by making him his successor. The son of Sketman took care of his subjects very conscientiously, just as if they were his own children. In conclusion, O Yudhishthira, one who wishes to fulfill his desires should strictly observe Putrada Ekadashi. While on this planet, one who strictly observes this Ekadashi will surely obtain the son, and after death, he will achieve liberation. Anyone who even reads or hears the glories of Putrada Ekadashi obtain the merit earned by performing an horse sacrifice. It is to benefit all humanity that I have explained all this to you. Thus ends the narration of the glories of Push Shukla Ekadashi or Putrada Ekadashi from the Bhavesya Purana of Ved Vyas Deva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Big Haribol to you. In spite of your age, now you read this much. Yes, that's great. Yes, all you devotees inspire me a lot. Okay. So yes, like this Putrada name is a Putrada. Like those who don't have the sons, like they have they fast on this Ekadashi. For even to have the pious son, like you require a lot of pious activity from your previous, in previous births. So in case like you want, then like yes, you can observe observe this fact, but you shouldn't require the son to like become too much materially opulent or like who only enroll in a sense gratification. You require son so who can like who there is in Bhagavatam, there is one shloka na, like you don't become father or don't become mother unless and until like the soul which are taking birth from your womb is not going to take again taking birth from another mother. So like yes, we have to train the sons in a Krishna consciousness, and like even the all the training start with the Garbhadana Sanskarna. And if you don't know, like on Ekadashi and on the pious days like a Jalmashtami and or like disappearance day of a Prabhupada, on this day like the sexual intercourse is prohibited. Like if someone does that, then your Ekadashi Vrata or whatever Vrata you are doing, it breaks. Celibacy is very important for the Vratas. Okay, so in case if someone misunderstand this, like yes, like you can pray for the Lord if you want a pious son. If you want a son to be the Krishna consciousness, you can pray to the Lord. But like please avoid this kind of activities on the Ekadashi. On the next day or day after that, you can go through there is a Garbhadana Sanskar. You can ask your senior devotees that they can guide. And yes, like but we are the devotees, like these are for the material peoples also. Or if you have this desire now, okay, I want a son who can propagate the mission of Lord Chaitanya, then yes, you can keep with this desire. But we are the devotees, we don't keep the Ekadashi for fast for the any phala. We keep the Ekadashi fast so that our devotion for Krishna increases, our love for Krishna increases, and our for purification of our consciousness, we keep the fast. Okay. So now we can move towards the Īšopanīšad. Yes, Nigda Mataji. Just give me a
Hare
minute.
Krishna.
I don't just it's loading. Yeah. We haven't finished 15 what? Yes. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Īšopanīšad 15. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hiranmayena patrena satyasapi bhitam mukham tattvam pusan aparvanu satya dharmaya drishtaye.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Let's give the Sureshwari Sudhamai Devidasi Mataji one chance to read the shloka. Yes,
Sure.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji pranams. हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषम् अपावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये.
Haribol Mataji. Yes, Nigda Mataji, you can continue the purport and translation.
Right. Translation. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 14.27, the Lord explains his personal rays, Brahma Jyotir, the dazzling effulgence of his personal form in this way. Brahmano hi pratisthayam amratasya bhasyaya cha sasvatyasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kantikasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the supersoul, is realized by those who have further progressed, and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mattaha prataram nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of the Brahma Jyotir as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later in the Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Krishna further explains, Athava bahunaitena kim gnatena tavarjuna vistabhyayam idam kristam ekam sena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri īšopanişad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is always filled with transcendental bliss. Anandamayo Bhasyat. When he was present at Vrindavana in India 5,000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss, even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes. The killings of various demons, such as Agha, Vaka, Putana, and Pralamba, were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavana, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavana was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called hatha yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cowherd boys, Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11, Ittam satam brahma sukhanu bhaktya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam nara darakena sakam vijahuro krita punya punja. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Jnanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mood of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. Thus, the Lord is always engaged in transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Santa, neutrality, Dasya, servitorship, Sakhya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love. Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavana Dhama, one may ask how he manages the affairs of the creation. This is answered in the Bhagavad Gita 13.14 to 18. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part known as the Paramatma or Supersoul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with the material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma who controls them all is Paramatma, the super soul. This system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of the material creation, for they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord, and the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyotir. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Sri īšopanişad points towards this direction praying for the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead, factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. The Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of three plenary expansion or Vishnu Tattvas collectively known as the Purusha Avatars. One of these Vishnu Tattvas who is within the universe is known as Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He is the Vishnu among the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, the collective supersoul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanadakshai Vishnu, who lies in the casual ocean. He is the creator of all universe. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic creation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahma Jyotir, who is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahma Jyotir is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14.27 as well as the Brahma Samhita 5.40.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Let's give chance
Hari
to
Bol.
Sudhamai Devidasi Mataji. Krishna Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्डकोटि कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिन्नं तद्ब्रह्मनिष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. In the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyoti. This Brahma Jyoti is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of factual realization of the absolute truth. And the Shruti mantra of Sri īšopanişad under direct discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The īšopanişad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyoti so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyoti effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad 2.2, 10 to 12. हिरण्मये परे कोशे विरजं ब्रह्म निष्कलं तच्छुभ्रं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिस्तद्यद् आत्मविदो विदुः तत् न तत्र सूर्यभाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्योतो भान्ति कुतो अयम् अग्नि तमेव भान्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वम् इदं विभाति ब्रह्मैवेदम् अमृतं पुरस्ताद् ब्रह्म पश्चात् ब्रह्म दक्षिणतश्चोत्तरेण अधश्चोर्ध्वं च प्रहष्टं ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वम् idam varishtam. In the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all lights. In that realm, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back, in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that supreme Brahman effulgence spreads throughout both the material and the spiritual skies. Perfect knowledge means knowing Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva has established that one will describe the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the supreme truth is a jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the Supreme Truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains the Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the Absolute Truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potency after the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, one realizes Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.46 to 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Gyanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature, Yogis, and the devotees of Lord Sri Krishna, Bhaktas. It is stated here that the Gyanis, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruitive workers, that the Yogis are still greater than the Jnanis, and that among all Yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man. A mystic is superior to a philosopher. And of all the mystic yogis, he who follows Bhakti Yoga constantly engaging in the service of the Lord is the highest. Sri Īšopanişad directs us towards this perfection. Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji.
Haribol Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for reciting shloka so nicely and reading the purport. So yes, so tomorrow, we will do the explanation for this 3-4 shloka mantras that we have read the purport, and we will try to finish this Isha Upanishad. Only 3 verses mantras are remaining, and from the next week we will start the new small book. Okay. So if we have already shared that list of the small books now. If you want some books to be covered earlier, then you can tell me. You can request. Okay. So we can take with this. So for today, we can end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. So yes, Bhakti yoga is the greatest, and we are so fortunate. We get the spiritual masters, we get the Prabhupada, we get the books, we get everything. So our only concern is to become sincere, take out little time for Krishna, and always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So happy Krishna conscious Ekadashi to everyone. Please chant your round, increase the hearing and chanting. Okay. And if possible, read the Prabhupada books. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you so much.
धन्य
Hare
हो
Krishna.
माताजी, धन्य हो.
Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for all for joining.